All right. What is up, folks? We got the one and only Rob Weiser right here. A few interesting things about Rob. I met Rob in Thailand, and Rob's living like a king there. Rob does very well on ClickBank, and I had Rob send me his bio, so I'm going to read some of the highlights here. It's pretty cool. Because Rob actually was a screenwriter to a major Hollywood agency in his early 20s, and he wrote a whole bunch of screenplays, and include a crime thriller called Snips. Sorry, is it Snips or Snipes?
Yeah,
Snipes, and he starred Zoe Saldana, who these days is very famous inside Guardians of the Galaxy. That's where I know her. She's the green chick. so that was actually one of the stars of his show. And then afterwards, he took up a job in Vegas managing the US top magazine for the Casino Player magazine. And then during that period of time, he dived in and checked out Neil Strauss's The Game, which was pretty cool. Came across David D'Angelo, that was how I got to know about Rob. And he has an amazing best-selling men's dating product. So I just know that Rob is doing fantastic. He's living in Thailand now. He's living the dream. Rob is living the dream right now. As we shoot this, everyone's locked away on COVID, and Rob is living like a king. So today we got Rob on to speak about all the digital products that he has created. The copy also, because Rob is Rob's copy really stands out, and it's really one of the most eye-catching copy in a scene where a lot of people write eye-catching stuff, but Rob's one is very engaging, very intriguing. When I first saw Rob's copy as a copywriter myself, I was like, who the heck wrote this? It's one of the most interesting, engaging ones, so I know we're going to have a fun time chatting about copy and some of these great stuff. So welcome, Rob.
Thank you, Melvin.
Yeah, Rob, I want to ask you a straight-up question, right? How did you learn how to write this copy? Because you seem to have an unfair advantage. You see, the funny thing is, most people dive in the world copywriting through internet marketing. They maybe bought a Frank Kern course, they probably bought, John Carlton course, and then they try to make some money, they suck at it, and maybe take 5-7 years. But you have a very interesting introduction into this world. You were a screenwriter before, so to what degree did that help you with copywriting, and how did you get good?
Yeah, I came from the world of movies, writing movies, and also I've written some books, actual hardcover physical books, if you remember what those looked like years ago.
Wow.
One thing, when I think back on it, one thing that I had to get really good at in order to succeed in those businesses was to learn how to grab people's attention quickly. When I would write a screenplay for a potential movie, my agent would submit it to a bunch of producers and movie studios, and these people have piles of scripts on their desks to get through. So I had to make a quick impact. I had to hook them with my first sentence, really, to make them want to keep reading. And page 1 has to make them want to read page 2, and page 2 makes them want to read page 3. And that was my idea from the beginning. And I studied a lot of storytelling in order to develop my screenwriting abilities, watched a ton of movies. And so when I discovered this whole world of internet marketing, I wrote my own copy from the beginning. And I incorporated a lot of those same tactics and skills and storytelling into my scripts before I really understood this whole world. I already had a feel for this, I think. And then since then, in the years that have gone by, I've really learned more about the craft of copywriting, and I've gotten way more deep into it. But I think originally it was my love of storytelling. I'll tell you a few in this call to entertain your viewers. Love of storytelling. Every one of my VSL, video sales letters, has a story. It's got a big chunk of it is a story. I try to make it as dramatic and intense and also funny, to keep you watching, keep you turning that page, as I used to do when I would submit a screenplay.
Yeah, I think let's dive right into that, because most copywriters, they believe it's persuasion, hypnosis, and all this kind of stuff, right? But you begin first and foremost with story. So what exactly makes a good story? How do you tell a good story? What did you learn back then studying fiction and writing all your screenplays?
Well, with copy, with sales copy, and again, we're talking here about direct marketing, sales copy. I'm not writing television ads. These are direct copy, direct sales, marketing sales letters. Every story has to have a relatable protagonist. It's got to be somebody, the hero of the story has to be somebody we can relate to, and that your viewer or your prospect can imagine being in their shoes. In every man, that's something that I learned. We'll talk more about it on this call. But the idea that your viewer needs, and I say viewer because in my case, a lot of my sales letters I turn into VSLs. I always have both. I have a VSL, and then if the person wants to leave the page and read it instead, then they have the option to read the sales letter. But I often say viewer because I'm referring to my VSLs. So you got to have a protagonist who is relatable, who people can pull for and sort of get behind, you know. And another part of that is establishing a common enemy. You've got to have somebody to root for and a person to root against. You know, whether it's a whistleblower who's exposing the secrets that big pharma doesn't want you to know, or whether it's some guy who got all the dating advice in the world and went to every pickup seminar, and it was all bullshit, until he discovered this one secret, which he's going to share with you. And the pickup artist industry wants him shut down, you know? So a lot of, you know, there's always going to be a common enemy that you can sort of rail against, and that they will make your viewers root for this hero as he goes through his journey. So the story's a big part of it, but there's also a lot of tactics and techniques you got to weave in there to make the sale, of course. So we can talk more about that too.
Yeah. So I think that is fantastic. You seem to have mastered the themes, because your copy literally grabs. Like, I think we were at an event where you're speaking, and you play your copy and your VSL, and it was intriguing. I think you stopped halfway, and people were like, "No, does it end? Does it continue? Does he discover the secret? What is going on?" And it's riveting. How do you build that high point? Because there's one thing I think so most people tell stories, right? Everyone attempts to tell stories. It's like jokes, but there's no high point, so the whole thing just falls a bit flat, like, right? But yours has that ever escalating high point, and it's like, oh my God, after a while they're invested in it and they want to know. How do you do that?
I think a lot of it is using really is emotional language, you know, jacking up the emotional language. How many sales letters have we seen where the hero is a guy who's teaching a make money online course? Or a success course. And of course, there's a part in the story where I remember when I was so broke, I had to move back in with my parents and live in the garage. You know, that story, we've heard it a million times. Yeah. You can take the same story and make it a lot more interesting by really describing the emotions this person is going through, the shame, the humiliation, letting down your parents, you know, the look in your mother's eye when she says, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay, honey. It's going to be okay, honey. And she pats you on the back and brings you a sandwich out to the garage. But you can tell your mother is inside. She's embarrassed. She's embarrassed about what's come of you. You know, your friends are talking behind your back, or you think they are. They're whispering behind your back of what a loser you are. There's a girl that you have a crush on, and you've been dying to ask her out. But how could you ever have a girlfriend when you're some pathetic loser living in your parents' garage and you're broke? You know, and so in that one simple act of just moving into your parents' garage, you can paint a picture of how deeply humiliating it is and the shame. And then when you make your rise, like the Phoenix, and you discover the secret, the push button millions or whatever it is, you use emotional language there too. And then you paint a picture in the mind of your viewer or your reader about the benefits they will experience, about how this will not only benefit their bank account, but it'll benefit their relationships and the way your mother will look at you from now on. When you surprise her with a birthday gift and you blow her mind, you buy her a new car, you know, you get the girl, now you're in a relationship, you have the dream girlfriend. So amping up the emotions and the emotional language, I think, is a big part of it. You know, not a whole lot. It doesn't need to be like a movie in the sense where a whole lot needs to happen. It can be quite, simple. The story itself can be quite simple, but you can draw it out and amplify it with descriptive emotional language.
Yeah. Before we go to other copywriting questions, because I'm just a big student of fiction, because I think, and I can tell that, I can tell you write good fiction, and you've done it before, but just the level of intensity of your stories. Most copywriters try to tell stories is damn flat. The only other person I thought I've ever read that told such great stories was John Carlton's martial arts letters. Because inside they were like, oh my
those
God,
are great.
Yeah, there's one guy in the dark alley versus like everybody, bunch of skinheads. I still recall those. And the second one is yours. Yours is just really high and low points. Any classic movies or books you think people should read to model as like an example of a fantastic story?
Well, I'm a big movie fan. I could talk all day about movies. I tend to like the older stuff from the 70s and 80s. But nowadays, there's just so many good episodic programs on Netflix and all these. There's so many great series out there. I can't even keep up with even half of them. I'm still trying to make my way through Breaking Bad. But a lot of these shows now are great examples of masterful storytelling. And cliffhanger endings, which keep you coming back to keep watching. You have to watch the next episode. If you find yourself watching a series and you feel forced to binge watch, where you have to keep hitting next episode at the end, then you are in the hands of a master storyteller. And you don't study it. Notice the writing, the storytelling. There's all kinds of ideas you can pick from these shows to possibly incorporate.
Yeah. I think you are exceptionally good at it. Let's talk a little bit about the sales part, the copywriting part.
Sure.
What do you think after writing so many copies, right? Because the most fantastic thing is, the funny thing is, even some of the top copywriters, sooner or later, they stop writing their own. They have they'll call the copy clips, but you write a lot of your own, right? Your own BSL, you're in the production of it. So this is a great question for you. What is the most overrated thing you see that people seem to talk about always in copywriting, and what's the most underrated thing?
First of all, and this is so huge, is ignoring what is working out there. It's the idea, stop trying to reinvent the wheel. There are so many fantastic writers out there and so many fantastic offers. When I look at offers, especially on ClickBank, which has tons of information products, I can tell within 10 seconds whether this is a good marketer and whether this offer is making money, because you notice a lot of similarities to other offers out there that are doing very well. When I see a VSL or a sales letter that is written like nothing I've ever seen, it's not from a successful writer, because they're just winging it. They're not following any kind of structure. They're not modeling anything out there that's working. So that's one of the most overrated ideas, is the idea, and this is something that beginners do, is they don't understand just how important copywriting is. They don't understand how necessary these techniques are to use. So they just figure they'll just write a description of their product the way that you would write a description for a product on Amazon. Like, just show your product, here's what it does, here's what it's about, and here's the price. They are completely missing the whole point of this. You've got to use effective copywriting, and there's a lot of tools that go into that toolkit.
So what's the most underrated thing? Like, one of the things that barely anyone talks about, but it's like so damn important for copywriting.
As you study copywriting, and I hope these guys, people watching this, are studying the actual transcriptions of the best offers out there. And if you want to know where to find them, just go to ClickBank. Go to the ClickBank Marketplace, look at the first page of offers, and pick some, maybe some that are related to your idea that you want to write about, and get them transcribed over at rev.com. Cost you like $30. And then you'll notice a lot of commonalities in those scripts. You'll notice they use a lot of the same techniques, like crushing objections, and the way they introduce the product, the language they use, the way they justify the price. Before they reveal what the price is, they go through a whole sales process. Before I reveal the price to you, let me just ask you a few questions. What would, and then and you walk them through this process of where you talk about alternative scenarios. Like, if I'm selling a men's dating product, which is the niche that I started out in many years ago, you say, before I reveal the price to you, let me just ask you, how much is it costing you right now to not get the results you want? Go out on dates with women and, blow $100 a night and, hope you get a kiss on the cheek, hope she calls you again. Or maybe you've gone to seminars and paid, there are seminars that I used to go to were, not me personally, but this is the script, guys are paying $2,000 for these boot camps to go to these guru seminars. So you lay out all these scenarios that cost a fortune, and then I oftentimes end by saying, and that's not even mentioning the non-financial costs. What about the emotional costs? What about going through life, with no confidence, with no girlfriend, no wife, no family? Why not just solve this right now? Solve your dating life once and for all. And then when we get to the price, it all seems to be like an amazing bargain. Like, holy shit, this is saving me a ton of money and pain. So to go back to your question, I think the most underrated thing is not using the full toolkit of techniques that you can draw upon. There's an example that I use in my course where I teach this, and it's like, imagine if you were falsely accused of murder, and you're locked up and you're going to trial for murder, and you didn't do this. So you get a lawyer, and you've got a great case. You've got like 10 pieces of evidence, and you've got 10 eyewitnesses who are willing to testify and say Melvin was not there on the night of the crime. He was with us. And your lawyer says, you know what? We don't need all them. I'm going to show one piece of evidence, and I'm going to call one witness. We're going to be good. Don't worry. You would say, screw that, dude. I want all 10, bring them all out. We got to win this. So that's how I approach these sales letters, is you got to use everything at your disposal. But I think the real craft of copywriting is using all these tools and techniques, but in a sort of invisible way, so that you don't feel like you're bashing them over the head trying to sell them something. You weave it in and out.
A little bit about that, right? So there is just overt persuasion where sometimes you can just see it coming. You're like, oh my god, this guy's got to say this exact thing, and sometimes the persuasion is so obvious. You're like, oh, my god, you can see it from a mile away. Then there's covert, where it's like under the radar, and after a while you start having thoughts that the person wants you to have. How do you do covert as opposed to just like blindingly overt? It's just like, oh my god, this guy's selling me.
That's part of the art. Countering objections is a huge thing. It's a very big thing. And that's oftentimes why these sales letters get quite long, is because you have to make sure that you neutralize the thoughts going through their mind about why they may not buy this today. This is direct marketing, which means you're trying to sell them something right now. You don't want them leaving and coming back later. So if they are wondering about, one of the most common objections is, will this work for me? Because everybody thinks that their situation is more challenging or unique. So with that, instead of coming right out and directly countering that objection, you include a quick little story about a guy named Jeff who used your system and he got this result. And his situation can sound like the worst, but even worse. Whatever this guy watching this is going through, like Jeff was worse off, but Jeff got results. And then talk about Andy. And what I'll do with these is I call it casting a wide net. Again, going back to the men's dating example, a lot of guys that are in that market, they think, well, come on, these guys teaching this are all good-looking guys. They're confident guys. I'm not like that. I'm shy. How is this going to work for me? So you got to weave in testimonials and stories that show it worked for this guy. He was 58 years old and he was overweight, and it worked for this guy. He was a virgin at age 35. So you cast that wide net so that sooner or later you're going to hit on something where the viewer is going to say, "Aha, that I can relate to that guy, and if it worked for him, this might work for me."
Wow.
So yeah,
that's fucking good, man. That is good stuff. That is good stuff, because I think that's the difference between covert and overt. Covert is when you address it before it comes up and it's all under the surface. Overt is like, well, you are wondering, will this work for me? And then you try to counter it directly, and then they don't believe you. How important?
Exactly. If you were to come right out and say, well, if it doesn't work for you, you can get your money back. Well, that's not really very. It's not really comforting, right? What is more comforting is to include a little quick story or a testimonial where they come to the conclusion on their own and they say, aha.
Yes.
Like, this guy's not telling to me. He's just, wait a minute, this guy, Jeff, I can relate to this guy,
I think it's the good old-fashioned idea of show, not tell, which
exactly.
I think storytellers do. What do you define by show, not tell? And let's talk also a little bit about character building, like having people invested. So one of the things I care a lot about, the character in your story. So how exactly do you first show, not tell, and also how do you build characters that people give a shit about? Because that was what you talked about earlier on writing.
Well, one little tip is that I never specify their age, their race. I want this to be an everyman who, like an avatar, or something. Like people should be able to relate to this person. That's very important. And by using emotional language, one thing that I'm trying to accomplish is that whatever shit this person watching is going through right now, however deep their challenges may feel, this guy in the story has it worse. He's facing a bigger obstacle, bigger challenges. And again, that's a persuasion method right there. I think And then it's also a confidence builder to make them feel that this is doable. If this pathetic individual can achieve results, I should be able to. I've got a chance.
Yeah. Wow. I think that one is really, really good. Let's talk about one more thing also. How do you study and understand the market? Because I think research is one of the most underrated things. Most folks want to skip it. They want to sit down and start banging it out. So let's talk about the preparation phase, right? Before you start banging it out, which a lot of people think is the work itself, copywriting, to say it right. But it's probably a research phase. People have different processes to put together some pointers, maybe study some offers. What's your prep phase before you actually write a single word?
Well, I would say there's two ways, there's two scenarios with this. One is when you are hired to write copy and you got to do research on that topic. And the other is, in my case, if I want to create an offer that I'm going to write the copy for. And in that case, one of the mistakes that I used to make was worrying too much about competition. I would look at the offers that are out there, especially ClickBank, and if there were a lot of big offers in that niche, I would get intimidated, and I would say, like an offer like health, weight loss, or even like BizOp, how to make money online. I thought that's impossible. How am I going to break in? There's all these gurus who are established and have giant followings, but those markets are so huge that if you can come up with your own offer that has a bit of a unique twist, if you can just capture one little slice of that market, just a little 1% slice, you can make millions of dollars. And in those markets, there's tons of traffic to be had when you're getting traffic. And then there are also tons of affiliates, which is a big part of my business model. I want affiliates to promote my stuff. So if I write an offer about, how to train your Shih Tzu or whatever, there are very few affiliates who are going to jump on that offer and want to promote it. But if you have an offer about weight loss, there are potentially thousands of affiliates who can jump on it and start buying traffic and, blogging about it, making YouTube videos about it, whatever, to send you traffic. So if you have an idea for an offer and there are not other offers out there already, it's a shit topic. Don't even pursue it. So it's sort of counterintuitive. A lot of people want to come up with this novel, unique idea that no one's done yet. And that's the worst way to go about it. Go into a deep ocean,
Yeah. I think that is kind of cool. So literally the idea that you have is to go in where it's popular or find a unique twist and capture that little segment of market, because at least that 1% of $1 billion market is not bad. Exactly.
And that comes down to just a copy technique that I always use, which is coming up with a unique mechanism. You notice that all the major weight loss offers, they all have, that's just one example, but it's very important to come up with what is your mechanism? And what is it that you teach that no one else out there is teaching? Yeah. So you're teaching, metabolic ignition or whatever. You make a name for this technique or this method, the X factor method, isn't it? Yeah. And you may be teaching a lot of the same material that other people are teaching, or even ripping off from you, which is probably happening to you. But you teach the X factor. And this is a secretive, little-known method that you can only get when they get coaching from you, Yeah. So that unique mechanism means everything.
Yeah. I think that is just hilarious. Do you ever do any of the old school stuff, like, speak to some of these clients, find out the good old Gary Halbert, go to a bar, ask people questions, do some surveys, very Armorin, 2004, 2005, Venus flytrap kind of thing. What do you want to learn kind of thing? Do you do any of that kind of stuff?
Do I offer coaching?
Yeah, psychology. No, just understanding the market before you start writing and stuff like that.
Oh, well, I just, like I said, I go into markets where I know there are going to be affiliates, where I know there's going to be traffic. That's very important. And where I know that I can create a unique mechanism. And I want other offers to study and to model and see what they're doing. What are they doing well? And I can borrow ideas and put my own spin on it. And that's really the first step. Now, if you're writing copy for somebody else, for a client, then of course, I've never actually done that, to be honest. But you would go to Reddit, you go to Amazon, check out reviews. Amazon reviews are a gold mine. I do hire writers to write a lot of my ebooks now. I used to toil over them myself, but now I can hire writers on Upwork and have them write the 200-page ebook. And they've got to do research. So a great place to go for that is Amazon. They give me hundreds of reviews, and you see the 5-star reviews and the bad reviews, and you see what are these. If it's an ebook on a certain subject, what is it in that book that was missing that people wanted to know more about?
Wow,
But they gave it a bad review.
tip. Yeah.
And then what are a lot of people saying they loved about that book? They love chapter 7 because it showed you how to do this. So I'm going to take that gold from chapter 7. I'm going to buy that book for $5, Kindle, and I'm going to make sure that I focus on chapter 7. And in my sales letter, I'm going to put emphasis on that because that's what people out there want to know about.
Oh my God, that is so good right there. Like literally, just that alone is just going to shortcut the product creation process because some people are obsessed over creating products. But what you do right there is a hack. Right, you go up there, you just read the reviews. See, most people buy the book, then they try to burn through that and think that 1 or 2 years ago. Now you're like, fuck that, let's go straight to the reviews, just find out what everybody likes. I'm just gonna focus right there, and I'm just gonna put together the best of all of these things, and then you get a product. Am I right?
Make a greatest hits, make yours the greatest hits, and then
greatest hits. Oh my God!
Come up with a unique mechanism, and then you're good to go.
Man, that is so good, and have a unique spin. That's the thing. Yeah, because one of the things that you teach, and I'm sure you do, is you churn, because you have so many digital products. Some people spend their entire lives trying to write War and Peace, and maybe they bump out 1 or 2. You got how many products you have you created so far?
I have over 50, but I will say that as I have realized that, and this has been said by a lot of friends of mine in the business, the guys who are making the biggest money are the ones that have maybe 2 or 3 offers, but they just focus on them and they refine them and they test them. For a long time, my business model was like churning out offer after offer in multiple niches. And if I had to do it all over again, I would just pick maybe one market and make a few products in that one market and build one massive email list in that niche and dominate that niche. So I have created a lot of products, but it's not what I would recommend that somebody do if they were starting this now.
Okay. So the deep one market, go deep, and then really just dominate the entire place. All right, awesome. So let's talk about some of the hit campaigns you have written. What were some of the secrets right there? I mean, without giving away what the product is, but how about you describe a hit campaign you wrote? What you think you did well, and what were some of the results? And then also one probably a dark campaign that didn't go as well, and how you fixed it. I think folks can learn a lot there.
Okay, well, as far as a hit, I wrote a men's health offer that's on ClickBank right now. That was #1 in men's health for a long time, and that was men's, for like sexual performance for men. And I really feel like I really understood that market. Not that I'm not a top sexual performer myself. But I did the research. I mean, I studied all the top offers out there, and I saw the pain points that they were hitting, and I understood why this writing was connecting with men so much. I realized that this was writing towards men that were 45 years and up. A lot of them tend to be religious, tend to be conservative, so I can weave that into the writing. And a lot of them are married men. So I'm not writing to single guys like I used to, trying to pick up chicks. These are like older, conservative, married guys. They don't want to hear about, banging women, left and right. They want to hear about having more intimacy in their marriage and feeling more masculine and feeling, like a good husband, fulfilling your duties as a husband. You satisfy your wife, and then that creates a deeper bond, and your wife looks at you with admiration and respect because you're this great, powerful lover now. Like that's what turns them on, not the idea of running out and sleeping with random women, of course. So I feel like I really hit the target with that VSL, and I also made it very much sound done for you. I really made it seem very, very simple. And it's basically just a set of instructions and recipes for optimizing your health more, and for going out and getting certain supplements that you can take and make smoothies with if you want to, and to help with that issue of erectile dysfunction, low energy, all those issues that men struggle with as they get older, and they want to feel more vital and feel younger, and then be better in bed. That's a big part of the male psyche. It's
Yeah,
very,
yeah.
yeah. So I really feel like I hit the target with that one. And it was also a very long VSL. And it just to tell you a quick story, I see so much stuff on Facebook that is hilarious. I was looking at a Facebook group the other day it was a bunch of Facebook marketers, affiliate marketers. And they were all talking about, so which offers are you guys promoting? What are you making money with? And one guy who was brand new to this whole affiliate marketing thing, he wanted to choose an offer to run ads for, to make money. Yeah. And he said, man, everyone's talking about this one offer. And I had my wife look at it, and the sales video was like 45 minutes long. It was so long and boring. I mean, why is anybody promoting this? My wife told me, don't promote that one. And then I said, well, what was the offer called? And wouldn't you know it, it's like the number one offer on ClickBank, or it was for like a year. It's made tens of millions of dollars. It's written by a master copywriter. That's why it's 45 minutes long, because that's how they split tested the hell out of it, and that's the right length. Now, you don't need to wait 45 minutes to buy it, because the add to cart button appears maybe like 20 minutes into it. And then the rest of the VSL script is just continuing to hammer them and counter objections and talk about the money back guarantee and talk about the benefits. But it's a long 45-minute VSL, and that's the standard. It has been the standard length for a lot of these massive $1 million offers. So that's one of the mistakes that people make also is not writing enough, not using the full toolkit, so to speak.
Yeah, the toolkit. Yeah. I think for some reason either the toolkit is shallow, or they just decide not to use it for some stupid reason. but
it's mainly just laziness or just assuming things. They're assuming. Now, as far as assuming things, that's a neat transition into my biggest bomb, because I made assumptions. This guy assumed that who the hell would want to watch a 45-minute sales video on their phone? Like, my wife hated it. Well, I don't care. Your wife is not the target market, and this thing has made tens of millions of dollars. So it's a winner. You should promote it and make money. But that was that guy. For my biggest bomb, I made a niche, a product years ago that was in the how to get your ex back niche, which is really good. It's a really profitable niche because there's a lot of pain involved. I mean, if your girlfriend dumped you, you can't sleep, you can't eat. You're on the internet, you're checking her social media, what's she up to, and so you can write a killer sales script. Who is she with right now? And so it was a great niche to jump into, and I was so excited that I decided to go ahead and buy a bunch of gear, lights, camera, set up a green screen, and I hired actors, and I had them deliver the script live on camera. I hired a woman to do the female VSL, and I hired a man to do the male one for guys. And I spent thousands of dollars on this thing, and then I put it out, and it completely bombed. I thought that I was going to kick everybody's ass, because there were other marketers who had just PowerPoint slides for their VSLs.
Yeah.
And I said they're not going to see me coming. I'm going to come out with some Hollywood production quality. But I didn't do the proper amount of research. I just assumed that it would be easy to get into that niche, and I would come in there with these live actors and a fancy VSL, and no one wanted to buy it. I think one of the reasons was because I think that whenever you use a live presenter, you're taking a risk, especially in that market, because with the female version, especially, I hired this really like a young, attractive blonde lady to present it. And she must have been like not even 30 years old. My target market, I didn't even realize my target market was women in their 40s and 50s. So they see this young, pretty blonde lady.
Oh shit! This looks like the exact kind of girl that the guy runs away with.
What's that? Yeah.
The blonde presenter looks like the kind of guy that their ex ran away with. Right?
Exactly. They're thinking that bitch. They don't like her. They didn't want to buy a product from her.
Oh no.
Yeah. And the guy that I hired was a good looking guy, because I didn't know any better. I thought you got to hire a good looking actor, right? That's what you would assume. But I should have hired a guy who was a little bit chubby, maybe like 40 something years old, somebody who was more relatable. But see, I didn't do enough research. I just thought this is going to be a home run, because everyone's crying when their ex leaves, and I could sell this to anybody, So it totally bombed. And then I rewrote it, and I just put it up as simple PowerPoint slides. But I really wrote the copy better that time, and I understood my target audience, and then the offer was extremely successful.
Oh my God, it's a damn good story.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah, because it just seems so logical, right? Oh my, I mean, we're just gonna get good-looking people, but little do you know, the good-looking people piss all the people off because they feel like this is the kind of person that took away either their boyfriend or their girlfriend. And they're like, man, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
and they don't believe that this guy needs his ex back. Oh my God. Oh man.
And I'll tell you what else. It also speaks to the importance of good copywriting, because at the end of the day, people will assume they'll see these VSLs and it's these shitty looking PowerPoint slides, and they think, well, how is this offer making $1 million? It's just PowerPoint, but it's great copywriting, and it pulls you in, tells you a story, and that's going to always be more effective than a fancy VSL that looks like you spent $50,000 on it, but the copywriting sucks, and it's not relatable, and it's not using copywriting tactics. That VSL will get killed by a good copywriter with PowerPoint slides.
Yeah, I find, and I want to ask you this because it's so interesting, right? Because people naturally, especially if they've not been in this market for a while, they naturally think, I could make money, highest production quality. But I have found the best, and maybe this speaks to the overt and covert, right? The best persuasion is when the persuasion fundamentals are very powerful, but it's like super simple and it's like relatable. Literally like Tai Lopez. Tai Lopez VSLs are with his camera phone. Now, I transcribed it and it's very clever. But at the same time, it just looks like he's a dude that's just walking around his house. As opposed to some of these things where you can see the studio, the lights, and you're like, I think these people are trying to persuade me. What do you think about that?
I think it's brilliant. I think that I met Tai Lopez years ago, and I had no idea what a big figure he would become in this industry. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of that was thought out, or how much of it was just blind luck. But those ads in his garage with his Lamborghini, here in my garage, they were incredibly effective and much imitated. They spawned a whole new generation of ads. And it's brilliant, because you don't feel like you're really being sold to. It just feels very off the cuff.
Yeah, that's the thing with the simple PowerPoints. Or so you're like, well, I'll just give this guy a chance. It doesn't look like especially trying to push something down my throat. But the big productions, you kind of have your gut up. That's the funny thing. When the person comes in and they got a whole suit on and everything, you're like, man, this guy's going to sell me something. It feels like it's very overt. Would you say so?
Yes, I would agree. It also depends a bit on the niche. I think that when you are in the make money niche, if you could slip in some reference, if you could slip in the Lamborghini or the yacht, that's a good thing. But if I'm telling an emotional story, I'd rather oftentimes just keep the people focused on the words and the writing and the language.
Yeah.
So, it's all worth a test. It's all worth testing.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about email and the difference between email copywriting and your sales letter stuff, right? So the sales letter, the VSL. Is there a difference you find between writing VSL copy and writing just long form before we go into email? Like VSL script-wise versus just pure long form. Is there a difference, or you find that it's pretty much the same?
It's pretty much the same. Yeah.
It's pretty much the same. Okay.
I pretty much just take the script, turn it into a VSL, and then use the same script as a long-form sales letter.
Got it. So how do you see email copywriting, both as what's effective for email copywriting? Because I'm quite sure you guys have said a long one. Because there's so many things, right? So the good old David D emails were fucking long. Man, that guy wrote long. Really long. Oh my God, so like 1,000 words. There was a day of the eSIN articles. His email were like at least 4 eSIN articles. They were like at least a few thousand words long. Then there were people that just send out blind emails this day. Oh my God, I just received this mystery tip. You should check it out. And it's just like nothing there. So what are your thoughts on this? Story, no story, long, short? What?
I do a mix. David D was sending out his emails. And by the way, for anybody who doesn't understand this, David D'Angelo was one of the pioneers of internet marketing years ago. And he put out this ebook, Double Your Dating. And when I discovered that ebook online, that was sort of a big moment for me, because I discovered this whole idea that you could take an ebook and sell it online and package it with some bonuses and sell it for like $47 or $97, digital file. That blew my mind. But yeah, he did a lot of email marketing. This was though before we were all on our smartphones. I think smartphone used to
yes.
So I think now short emails are definitely what's working nowadays. It's changed. 5 or 6 years ago, I remember one of my friends who's one of the biggest marketers in men's dating. When I would ask him to promote my products, he never liked the emails that I would give him to send out because he said they were too short. My list wants to read content. They want to get tips. I want to soft sell them. In today's email, I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to start a conversation. Yeah. And it would go on for like 800 words. It was like a blog post. And then at the end, 1 link. If you want to learn more, click here. Well, I don't do that now. I'm much more aggressive and short with the emails. And I think also it's about the fact that the market has matured a lot, and there's so many good marketers out there that are creating these fantastic sales letters and VSLs. So if you're trying to drive people to check out your offer, you want to get the click. I don't care about teaching them something in the email. I want to make them click and then let my sales page do the selling. That's what it's there to do. Yeah. So I test different things. Just today, I'm running a sales contest for my affiliates next week, and I'm studying what are the open rates, the click-through rates, so when I'm creating a new batch of emails today to give to my affiliates to send out for the contest, and I'm actually giving them I don't just think of a subject line and just stick it in there and give it to them. I actually look at my stats in my SendLane account. I use SendLane, and I take the best subject lines that got the highest open rates, and then I'll have an image at the bottom of the email, like a thumbnail image, and take those that got the most clicks, and I'll compose emails that take the best of both for my affiliates. But they're short emails.
Wow.
Usually. Yeah.
Yeah. They're all short. Oh my God, you're so accurate with a smartphone. That is exactly why it's gotten down. It was a long time ago. I was checking it on the monitor, and you're like, oh my God, it's like a blog post. But now you're like in the train, you're in the toilet, and you're like, man, your attention is kind of reduced. So you're like, I don't want to read long shit, man. I don't want to scroll. Well, it's absolutely spot on. I want to mention, how do you extend the pipeline for your info products? You do a gazillion. So back in the day, folks were doing a gazillion OTOs, upsell, downsell, cross-sell, thank you, pitch sell. Oh my God. It was like, I just bought one thing, I gotta click through at least 10 other things. Still do that, not do that.
I definitely do it. And I got some wicked upsell funnels, because I got the upsells, the downsells. So I definitely use those to my full advantage. Upsells are great, man. And it's very important too, because in my business, where it's very much depending on affiliates, you got to make your affiliates the most money possible, because if you have an offer, they can choose any offer they want to send traffic to, especially if they're buying like Facebook ads to promote you, and they're risking their own money to promote your offer. So you got to make sure that they're profitable. And one of the ways you can make sure of that is to have great upsells, so that they're making, instead of $1 a click, they're making $2 a click, because the customers are buying your upsells too. So you got to do whatever you can to drive up your AOV, your average order value, for your affiliates. So yeah, upsells, downsells. I got offers on my thank you page, because that's the best real estate you've got, because that's somebody who has their credit card in their hand and they just purchased something and they got a buzz because they've just gone through your sales copy. And if you offer them something else on the download page or the thank you page, they're likely to click on that too and grab it. So I use all those, and then of course I have a very good autoresponder sequence, so that once they buy it, they get put on my email list, and then immediately they start receiving emails from me, usually every day, to promote stuff to them. And I gotta be honest, back in the day, I used to believe in this whole theory that everybody went by, where you can't burn out your list. So the first week or 2 weeks of emails that they would get were all content. I'm not selling you anything. I'm just here to help out.
Yeah. I remember marketing truism, although you can't sell them. You must always just like build rapport for 3 to 5 emails. Did you record that? Only 7 content, and only in the 6 or 7, then you put a link inside.
Well, that doesn't work anymore, man. You have a limited window to make more money with that person. So you got to hit them with offers. So that's what I do. I don't, I share some info. If I have some content to share, I'll share it. But I no longer believe in that theory where you got to deliver value for 2 weeks and then
take her out on a date, kiss on the 5th date.
Yeah,
we don't do that, man. We go straight for the kill these days. Okay.
I mean, you're lucky if you're getting into their inbox. So.
Yeah. Oh my God, that is pretty crazy these days. What are your thoughts on reviving a dead list, or someone who hasn't nailed the list forever? What are your thoughts having done this before?
I've tried it. I find that dead lists are it's pretty limited what you can squeeze out of it. I delete a lot of my contacts regularly. They haven't opened an email in maybe in a month or two. Just get rid of them. A lot of people falsely think that it's about the size of the list. It's not. It's about the responsiveness of the list. I've had lists that were 50,000 but they didn't make any money because people were not opening the emails. In fact, I had an offer, one of those offers for women. I was running Facebook ads for it for a long time, and funneling and pushing them into a quiz funnel, like a quiz. So they had to enter their email to get their free bonus or their free ebook. I was getting 1,000 leads a day off of that. 1,000 people on my list, and nobody would buy anything. Wow. They didn't want to buy anything. But with a men's health list, I have found that the list of 3,000 guys, I can make money, push button money. Just send out an email every day, promoting the same stuff, and I could even send the same email out 2 days in a row and make money, and no one complains.
Yeah,
so why not?
Weird, right? I mean, it is one of the weirdest things. Like after you do this now, you bet the first time out, someone accidentally loaded it up, and then they send the same email out, and then they kind of realize, wait a minute, they got bought it the second time. It's nuts. That was the good old clickbank days. So when I was doing it, I was like, this is nuts. The funniest one was if you send a link out, then you send the next email and say that the link was wrong, and basically it's like the same email. One of these old school methods. Oh my God, that was pretty good. What do you think? So I want to ask this, but I think we addressed this just now. I want to ask, do you think people still read copy? But I think it goes down to how interesting it is. I think that was one of the things. I'll mention a few things here. Are there any must-use tools that? And by the way, do you record your own VSLs? Is that the what's that mic that you recommended me before? Like, do you record your own? Do you hire a voice actor?
No, I have this Yeti microphone right here that I've used for years. It's very popular in our business. But no, I haven't recorded one of my own VSLs in many years. I use voice actors.
That great voice. Oh man, really? Thanks.
But you know what? I never had the motivation to properly set up any kind of studio. And when I hire these actors from like Upwork or Fiverr, I use Fiverr a lot. They have like recording booths. I mean, the audio quality is so nice, and I found some really good ones. Yeah, and I'll use them over and over again for different stuff. So,
wow, the voice actors who specifically record, they are really fucking good.
Oh yeah, if you go on Fiverr, type in voiceover, you'll see dozens of people, and these people have like home studios. I mean, it's amazing, and they'll do it for a few $100s. So why not?
James walked over. He got a whole wow. That is so good. Are there any other must-use tools? Like, you mentioned really quickly about funnels. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Just to really ignite. Do you have any little tricks and tips? Do you usually send traffic to, let's say, a quiz thing? Then afterwards, you send them to a landing page, or do you just send straight to VSL these days? And what are just what are some of these
They go straight to the VSL. When affiliates mail, they go straight to the VSL, and there's always a link underneath that says, do you prefer to read? Click here. And then they can go to the text sales page and read that. But I want them to see the VSL first. After they purchase, they can take them through an upsell flow. If they decline an upsell, I show them a downsell. And a really good tactic to use that I can share is that instead of just offering, I used to do it like this. Well, 2 notes on upsells. This is a really good topic. the first thing about upsells, I told you a moment ago how important they are. Not just for you to make more money, but when you have affiliates promoting you, you've got to make your affiliates happy. And you do this with upsells. Now, back in the day, and this is what a lot of people do, especially like on ClickBank, they don't put any thought into their upsells. They just grab whatever they have lying around. Right? Hey, Melvin, you have a free report? I'll just throw it in there. You know, it's an afterthought. But now I know that even when I'm planning my front end offer, I've got to know that I've got some great upsells. And one of the best upsells you can possibly do is if your upsell number one is like a done for you type thing. So I now sell a supplement for men's health. I got several supplements for men's health. So the front end could be an info product where we show you the recipes, or let's say you're selling a keto cookbook. Well, upsell number one is a supplement. It's a keto supplement. So it's done for you. Instead of having to cook your meals, you simply take the supplement. It's just boom, you're done. So it's done for you, you know? So I try to think along those lines. So your upsell number one is the most important one, because it'll make it like 80% of the money. If you can have something that's sort of done for you, like you see with Make Money offers, upsell number one sometimes is like a piece of software or an app that does it for you, right? If like Forex and binary, all that stuff that was really popular for a while, Forex, binary, all that stuff, they were always selling some sort of like upsell number one was like a software for like $200. And it makes the picks for you. So now you don't need to do anything. And that's extremely attractive to a customer, you know. So that's the first thing, is the upsells have to be planned out. They've got to be congruent with the front end offer. And they've got to have a component of they will speed up your results, or they'll amplify your results. Another example.
That's so good. That is so good. Oh my God. I don't know if anyone watching understands how good that is. That is either they remove the work or they make the shit faster or bigger. That's literally like setting a microphone. They either remove the work, I'm going to write it down, remove the work or make it bigger and faster.
Like a very simple example would be, I have a friend who's got a big product on how to text with women. You know, how to text. Well, upsell number one is like 101 of the best texts to send. So you don't need to think of anything. It's all in this upsell book. Just copy and send, and instant attraction, right?
Oh my God.
It's like a no-brainer. Like, who wouldn't buy that, you know? It's only $47 more. Before I knew all of this, if I was selling a texting product, upsell number one would have been like fashion tips, like how to go out and buy a new wardrobe to be better with women, right? And the upsell take rate would have been like, you know, 5% or 10%. But now I understand that concept, like done for you, faster results, better results, copy paste, you know, 101 best text. It's a no-brainer. Like they take that. So that's the mentality you want to have, whatever your niche is.
That is so good. It's literally like 20 first date outfits that are just wired, scientifically tested to make her want to kiss you, or that kind of thing. Like just combination, and then just click here, you can buy the outfit, it's shipped to you tomorrow, that kind of thing.
But only if your front end offer is about that topic. What I'm saying is that that would not be, if you're selling a texting offer, they don't want to hear about fashion tips on the upsell. They want to hear about how can they get faster results with texting. And that's what your upsell should be.
Faster, better.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's the idea.
That right there. this is a multi-million-dollar call. I don't know if anybody understands. Like we have covered so many good stuff here that, I mean, oh my God. I don't think usually people ask you about upsells and downsells. They usually just ask you about copy. But, you know, I've been in the business before and I know this is so important. That right there will just make people shit ton more money. Okay, cool. I think we've burned through a whole budget. Rob, any secret Rob Weiser persuasion copy elements that we have not spoken about so far? I think you were doing a presentation at Mitchell's thing before, and you were talking about different things that you did about transitions. You talked about, you know, stories. You talked about, you know, hooks, and any 2 to 3 secret Rob Weiser weapons, a bit like a Mortal Kombat game, and this is like Rob Weiser's best moves.
If you look at my scripts and my VSLs, you'll always notice a lot of common things. I use the full toolkit, the full arsenal, but like we talked about, I try to conceal it, disguise it, so that it's not obvious that I'm selling. I pay it. One thing that like a lot of the teachers don't really talk about, I've never heard them talk about it, is the importance of paying attention to your word count. So you'll notice that like when I'm looking at a script, a transcription of an offer, so I'm studying other offers before I write my own. I'm going to notice at what point in the script do they introduce the product, and then at what point do they reveal the price. And this is oftentimes, when you're looking at a multi-million-dollar offer, you can assume that they have split tested many different versions.
Yeah.
And the difference between showing the price at 23 minutes and then or 29 minutes could be a massive difference. And in my own split testing, I've often found the longer I hold back the add to cart button, the better it converts.
Wow, really?
That was true of my men's health offer that I talked about, the big winner. So I think I make you wait like 35 minutes to even be able to buy it before you can even see the add to cart button. But that time gives me enough space for me to, use my tactics so that by the time I reveal that button, you can't wait to get your hands on this thing. That's the idea. So you've got to have enough time to work your techniques. So paying attention to word count is really big. So I'm always like aware of that. When I'm writing, okay, I've gotten to around 4,500 words. Now I've got to show the product, but I never show the product and the price at the same time. You want to show the product, and that's what led me to discover the ultimate attraction system. And I might show a little product bundle image, of the system. But I'm not showing the price, and I'm not showing the add to cart button, because now you're going to go through the next series of steps in the process, and that includes bonuses. You're going to say, you're probably wondering how much this costs, but before we get to that, let me show you a special bonus package that I've worked out for you today. And now I'm going to lay out bonus number 1, bonus number 2, bonus number 3. And we've seen this, in all the different niches. Similar to how I used to look at upsells, I didn't understand the importance of this. For bonuses, I used to just grab whatever I had, a free report or whatever bullshit I had on my hard drive, But now I realize that the bonuses are a huge part of your sales pitch. So you really want to put some thought into them. And your final bonus is the most important. So I try to make the final bonus sound just as valuable as the front end offer. So now they're thinking, man, this is an incredible bargain. So like I've done a lot of offers where I'll have usually 3 bonuses, and I put thought into what these bonuses are going to be, and they're congruent with the main product in some way. And then again, the final bonus has to be really strong. So those are tactics that I use. And then after you reveal the bonuses, and again, this is the whole idea that, I follow a template. I'm not just making shit up off the top of my head and saying, now I'm going to do this. No, I know I have like 12 steps, when I write these things. The next step is, I think it's price justification. So now I've showed you this, and now we're talking about the price. Actually, in some scripts, what I'll do is I will show the price, and then I will reveal the bonuses. So it's $37, but we're not done yet. You're also going to get this. And now that's another way to do it, because now they're thinking they're getting all this additional value for their $37. And the justification of the price, that means that we talked about this earlier. You're laying out scenarios of what it's going to cost them if they pass up this opportunity, So all of these steps need to be incorporated. And if it takes, 30 minutes to do it all properly, so be it. I'm going to split test it. One of my tools, if you want to talk about actual like software, I use CV Split or Visual Website Optimizer to run split tests. And it's just amazing. It's amazing how counterintuitive a lot of this stuff is. Like I said, the longer I hold back the button, the better the conversions are. It doesn't make sense to you, but when you consider the tactics that I'm using, I might need 37 minutes to get you with everything I've got, and then the button appears and you think, oh, you want that thing. On the other hand, if you were to show the button too early, and they're going to click it like when they see it usually. And if you haven't built up that anticipation in them and that excitement, they're going to go to the order form, they're going to see the price, and they're going to say, is it really worth $47?
I love the Rottweiler philosophy. The Rottweiler philosophy is literally like, this got a combo, we're just going to do everything. Which is
the box seats. The boxing analogy, right?
Everything is like you never know. Maybe you hit them on the first punch, the middle punch, but we're gonna get them no matter what. There are some people that just like, nah, I just hit them with one, which works well if it works, but sometimes it doesn't, and then the person's still alive. So Rob's like, which is emptying the clip right in. So like that motherfucker dies.
That's basically the idea, you know.
Yeah.
But of course, you want to give them a good product. Let's make sure we mention that, you know. And you know, one of the great marketers, I don't know if it was Dan Kennedy, I forget, but I think it was him. He said that because a lot of people they have anxiety about selling. They don't want to sell things because they don't feel right about it. And I think it was Dan Kennedy said that if you believe in your product and you believe, like in your case, you know, you believe that you're going to change people's lives and make their lives better, then you have an ethical responsibility to pitch hard and to smash their objections, to get them off their ass and to make them take a chance on you and buy your course or go to your seminar because you believe in what you're teaching. So why dance around it and pitch hard?
Yeah. I think final questions, this has nothing to do with marketing. This is just for fun. I'm not sure if we'll include this, but let's just put it in there. What are Rob Weiser's thoughts? So I'm watching Rob stuff on social media. Drops a little bit of bombs of knowledge on what's happening in the world. So what are Rob Weiser's thoughts for how are 2021 panning out the next 3 to 5 years?
That's a tough one. Everything is so upside down right now, man. I mean, I could not possibly tell you. You know what's crazy, man? Today's February 10th.
Yeah.
It was 1 year ago today on Facebook that I wrote a post and I said, has anybody heard of this situation in Wuhan, China? Is anyone aware of what this is going to mean? And no one had heard of it in the US. No one had any idea what I was talking about. And I got some people were posting jokes like, you know, put on your tinfoil hat, you know, or whatever. No one had. Not that I predicted the scale of this disaster, but I was aware of it because I'm over here in in Thailand, and I'm seeing. I'm closer to it, you know, but I was watching it very carefully, and no one had heard it. No one had known what I was talking about. Here we are 1 year later. It feels like it happened 10 years ago. The whole world is upside down. It's crazy. It's insane. I hate that word crazy. I hope you're doing well in these crazy times. I hate that. It diminishes it. These aren't crazy times. These are like totally fucked up times. You know, they really are. So I mean, that's one side of it. On the other side, the silver lining, if there is one, is the fact that I had a really good year business wise. Because I'm not,
I'm stuck at home.
Yeah, I've been working like crazy.
You're stuck at home.
Yeah. I've been working a lot harder, and I also got into selling physical health supplements. People are obviously very concerned about staying healthy now, and not catching this damn thing, and they're also becoming extremely comfortable with buying stuff online. You know, when I first started out, one of the main objections was, well, I've never heard of this website. You know, can I trust them with my credit card? Now people are ordering everything online. So the idea of buying one of my courses or products is nothing to them. And that's only going to keep continuing. And, you know, in your case, teaching entrepreneurship, you know, and I intend to do more of that kind of teaching. That's huge because, you know, that whole side of the world is changing fundamentally. People are not going to office jobs. They don't want office jobs. And if you can offer them a passive income solution, I think that's extremely attractive to people now. So there's a lot of opportunity here.
Yeah. It is really interesting. I mean, we sacrifice being able to travel and, you know, go to bars and clubs. Yeah. You know, we're stuck at home. The good news is folks who have been online and are doing the online business are just like virtually all of them reported a pretty good year last year.
Yeah.
Except there's no avenue to spend that money.
Yeah.
There's no avenue. Just watch the money pile up, but nothing much happens because you can't go nowhere.
That's a nice problem to have, though. It beats owning a pizza restaurant and the government shuts you down. You know.
That is absolutely true. That's absolutely true. So, Rob, as we close out here, any final words for folks that watch this, want to get better at copy, anything you want to share with them?
Definitely. Go over to my site. Go to robwiser.com. Rob, W-I-S-E-R. Go to robwiser.com. I have a webinar there, so jump on it. There is an offer at the end. I pitch my passive income breakthrough course, but the webinar itself is packed with information. It's co-hosted by a good friend of mine who is one of the biggest guys on ClickBank, very big in the men's dating world, those products. And it's really a step-by-step roadmap of how I create these digital products from the idea stage to putting them online to writing the copy. That's one of the big modules in the course is writing the copy. And I have a 12-step formula in there that I teach. And it's a great blueprint for helping you come up with the right idea or taking one of your ideas or one of your talents or hobbies or skills and how to take that knowledge that you have in your head and how to package it as a digital course and put it up online. And I mean, the ROI for these products is like nothing else out there. For a very small amount of money, you can get one of these created. If you don't want to write a book, you hire somebody. If you don't want to be on video, you pay somebody, or there's all kinds of ways to do it that I teach. And so you get this product up there. I suggest putting it on ClickBank, and in the course I explain all the ins and outs, and then you have this passive income stream. And then you are really kind of insulated against a lot of these things that are happening in the world. You know, you have passive income revenue coming in, money coming in while you sleep, literally, and there's nothing better besides your health.
That's true. Rob, this is amazing. Like I always enjoy hanging out with Rob. I can't wait for all of these to be over so that we can hang out with Rob in in wonderful Thailand. You know, Rob has all these wonderful places there. It's really fantastic. I learned so much. Like this call right here, this contains at least 5 to 7 really good gems. I'm not sure if anyone caught it.
Yeah.
Some of the upsells is just worth everything. Like literally, that is insane. Because most will do rubbish upsells, and that was so good. That was like literally fantastic. So Rob, appreciate it. Thank you very much, man.
Hey, thank you, Melvin. Talk to you soon.